The Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Samoa, the Honorable Uli Hayemale Smith, the Minister for Agriculture and Livestock, Solomon Islands, the Honorable Augustine Maeue Aunga, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the United Nations Resident Coordinator and interim for the Multi-Country Office Fiji, Ms. Heike Elefson, the UNFAO representative for the Pacific Islands, Ms. Siang Jun Yao, representatives from academia and NGOs, ladies and gentlemen, Bulu Vinaka, and good morning to you all. I am honored to be part of the launch of the FAO Pacific CPF 2023-2027 here in Suva, as food and agriculture is a key sector for Pacific Island economies, and it is in all our interests to find ways and means of supporting efforts in accelerating the transformation of our agri-food systems for the benefit of our people and the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, FAO is the oldest permanent specialized agency of the United Nations and was established in 1945 with the objective of eliminating hunger and improving nutrition and standards of living by increasing agricultural productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, today more than ever, these issues remain relevant as we come out of the COVID-19 pandemic, but are faced with more challenges, such as the increase in prices of food, feed, fuel and fertilizer, and difficult access to finance known collectively as the 5F crisis. These threaten food security and livelihoods around the world and disproportionately affect Pacific seeds. Pacific seeds already face unique vulnerabilities and development challenges based largely on their remote geography, small land masses, small populations, and vulnerability to climate change and other external shocks. In addition to this, in the Pacific, we are facing a crisis with the triple burden of malnutrition. That is the coexistence of undernutrition, stunting and wasting, micronutrient deficiencies, hidden hunger, and overnutrition, overweight and obesity. To illustrate the seriousness of this, the Fiji Ministry of Health reports that around 80% of deaths in Fiji are caused by NCDs, and these numbers keep growing. Finding the solution to these complex problems requires a food systems approach and involves considering the entire food chain, taking into account the production, processing, distribution, and consumption of food, as well as sustainability, climate change, and the recovery of biodiversity. It requires a transformation of the food system if countries are to reach their sustainable development goals, targets, but we cannot do this alone. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, FAO carries out research, provides technical assistance on projects in individual countries, operates educational programs through seminars and training centers, maintains information and support services, including keeping of statistics on world production, trade and consumption of agricultural commodities, and publishes a number of periodicals, yearbooks, and research bulletins. Some of you may be aware that it is also involved in the development of strong legal tools such as treaties, along with a wide range of non-legally binding tools. An example of an FAO treaty is the FAO Port States Measures Agreement, which a number of Pacific Island countries, including Fiji, have signed onto over the last few years in an effort to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. FAO also focuses on implementation and compliance with significant monitoring tools, capacity building, and development assistance to support developing countries in their implementation efforts. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the agriculture sector plays a key role in food systems. Firstly, because it supports the production of food. Agriculture also sequestrates and emits carbon and preserves or affects natural resources and life on Earth, depending on what choices are made by farmers, consumers, and decision makers. But agriculture is not alone here, and the dialogue about food systems needs to be extended to other sectors. For example, the trade sector buys, imports, and exports food, organizes food markets, and plays key roles in the processing and marketing of agri-food products. As such, it is critical to the agenda. Thus, establishing a sustainable food system requires multi-sectoral coordination and collaboration to address all challenges simultaneously. Aside from government, private and non-profit organizations, community groups, and individuals can work together to address food and nutrition security. The CPF is FAO's central planning and programming tool for 14 Pacific Island countries. It is intended to coordinate the efforts of governments and technical agencies and development partners in programs for developing agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and land and water resources. Ladies and gentlemen, after extensive consultation with Pacific Seeds, the CPF 2023-2027 highlights priority areas for intervention that can help to accelerate development progress in these countries. Its aim is to mobilize and make effective use of development financing, including climate adaptation financing. I am urging my fellow Pacific Island members to seize the development opportunities presented in the CPF. At the same time, I call on development partners to make development cooperation work better for Pacific Seeds. We must learn from past experiences and should be looking at innovative approaches and good practices that can help address some of the key vulnerabilities of Pacific Seeds. Development partners can play a better role than they have in the past to help Pacific Seeds secure and invest resources in agri-food systems. While Pacific Seeds share common challenges, development partners need to better tailor development cooperation to specific development impediments of Pacific Seeds. I'm sure my fellow ministers from Samoa and the Solomon Islands would concur with me that many small projects from multiple sources and donors strains already stretched institutional resources, often resulting in poor implementation and low absorption capacity. This needs to change. The CPF is a tool for development partners to more systematic and long-term approaches in ensuring sustainable agri-food systems for Pacific Seeds. I call on development partners to pool funding mechanisms so as to reduce transaction costs and modalities to strengthen national capacities. I also encourage partnerships with a larger range of actors, including through triangular and South-South cooperation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while we, the Pacific Seeds, urge development partners to do their part, we also have an essential role to play in putting in place the policy and institutional arrangements that allow development efforts to succeed. This includes ensuring strong political leadership, leading planning processes, reducing bureaucratic hurdles, and clarifying government processes, creating an enabling environment for engagement of diverse stakeholders and ensuring coordination of all development efforts. Finally, I would like to commend the FAO representative, Ms. Xiang Jun Yao, for her initiative and foresight to launch the CPF 2023-2027 in Suva, Fiji, where most of the UN agencies and development partners are based, and where many of our smaller Pacific Island nations are also represented here via their high commissions. I have been informed that this is the first official launch of the CPF in the Pacific, and with the launch of this document, I call on everyone present physically and virtually. Let's get started and make development cooperation work better for the Pacific Island countries.
My dear Honorable Ministers, Brothers of the Pacific, Honorable Minister of Agriculture of Fiji, Honorable Minister of Agriculture from Solomon Island, Madam Cheng Chung Yao, FAO Sub-Regional Coordinator of the Pacific, members of the UN agency, diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Talo Falava ni Sampula Binaka, and greetings to you all from Samoa. On behalf of the people of the independent state of Samoa, I would like to congratulate the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations for the launching of its 4th editions of this multi-country programming framework for the Pacific Island. It is timely as we have strived to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, coupled with the economic shocks and climate change challenges. These call for the game of changing tangible, systematic system solutions through sound program planning and implementation. Food remains an integral part of our Samoan culture, which ties with our land and ocean, and it is a key to our people culture identity. However, with the vulnerability of the climate changes and susceptibility to shock and the rising burden of non-communicable disease NDC, with the inherent limitations of an island and a small economy, these pose challenges to ensuring. With the great help of FAO, right now our government is prioritizing the development of our people in the grassroots area and the people in the rural area to make sure that our people has the building capacity and access to all areas for development, for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. Samoa overreacting planning and framework has overlying vision, strategy, priorities, principle, and strategy to provide, basically for the development of our Samoan through various of 14 sectors. The agriculture and fishery sector has been strongly highlighted in Samoa long-term plan Samoa 2040 minimum term plans. First, pathway for the development of Samoa. Second, Samoan food system pathway. And third, agriculture and fishery sector plan. I would like to highlight the 5 key strategy outcomes for the agriculture fishery sector plan 2023-2027. First, resilience and sustainable food, agriculture, fisheries, and aquaculture system enhanced. 2, food and nutrition security increased. 3, rural transformation fosterance. 4, private sector capacity improved. 5, enhancing environment of the sector development strengthening. There will always be challenges in the development of agriculture and fishery sector. However, in order for the development activities to be successful, it is required collective commitment, investment, and aggregate resources, strong leadership, and the willingness to work cooperative among stakeholders and development partners. Strongly partnership comes from sharing common goal and understanding of priority areas where targeted intervention and amplify development impact. It is believed that the new FAO CPF was developed as an outcome of a countrywide consultation, national plans and priorities. Therefore, it should be further to pave the way, support countries' forward transformation, and agri-food system and community development. On behalf of our government and our Ministry of Agriculture and Fishery, I wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge with great gratitude and appreciation the ongoing technical and physical assistance provided by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations towards our sustainable development of agriculture and fishery sector. And I assure you that our government will always be standby and have the full support for FAO, and I also believe that it is the intention of all our Pacific family. The ministry will continue to work collaboration with the FAO, with all our other development partners to make sure that the Pacific region and Samoa is food, nutrition, income secured. Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. Your Excellencies, FAO representatives to Solomon Islands, United Nations resident coordinators for the Fiji Multi-Country Office and Micronesia, colleague ministers from Fiji and Samoa, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This launch marks the fourth edition of Multi-Country Programming Framework for the Pacific Islands. The fourth, in a practical way, it should mean that we are all on the way to meeting the 2030 targets. I was at the higher level event in Rome as a prelude to the stock-taking moment last week. There was wide and accepted consensus that we are off targets. That is a real concern as we launch this CPF 2023 to 2027. Are we all radical enough to bring on board the changes and transformation seriously, indeed, in our countries and Pacific Seas region to ensure that food security and nutrition becomes a sustainable, natural possession of our people? I hereby commit to you that Solomon Islands is ready to step forward in implementing the CPF in partnership and collaboration with all of you. I thank you and I appreciate the United Nations and FAO sub-regional offices for your continued support, and we are committed to join success. Thank you, everyone.